DESIblitz.com.
Hi, I'm Antonio Aakeel, and for news, gossip and gupshup, log on to DESIblitz.com. Well, I've always been acting ever since I was a kid. I moved to a new school halfway through the year, and they were just putting on the Christmas production, and they gave me one line in the show, and it went really, really well, and I got great feedback, and I thought maybe I could do this a bit more. And then I wanted to continue acting, but in the next couple of plays we did at school, I became the narrator instead of an actor, so I was always itching to act, but I think I've just always been performing as a kid. City of Tiny Lights. I wasn't initially up for that role that I got. I was actually going up for a role that was playing the younger version of Riz Ahmed. And we did like 4 auditions, a screen test, and when it came down to it, they thought that actually, in the end, I wasn't right for the role. I was actually right for the younger version of James Floyd. They thought I looked more like him. So getting it was a fantastic achievement. It was just a few months of waiting and hoping, and then when I finally got that call, it was great. Yeah, I mean, everyone was really, really nice to work with. I had a few scenes with Riz Ahmed, because the way they've edited it is that, you know, the film flips between the past and the present, and you kind of see our characters almost collide as he's seeing his memories. So it was really interesting working with everyone. Everyone was really, really nice. In the acting world, I was always fascinated by watching Jimmy Mystery, because he was another brown guy that was performing, and I thought he was really funny, like when he did the Love Guru, and East is East was obviously it's a classic, so yeah, I think definitely him. I've always been a fan of Leonardo DiCaprio. He's one of my favourite Hollywood actors, and Meryl Streep obviously, and obviously legend Shah Rukh Khan. I've only got one that's my favourite, and it's Pahelli. It's an old one he did where he plays a genie or a ghost or something, and I remember watching it thinking, wow, magic and Shah Rukh. I loved it. My parents thought to themselves, how can we mess up our Punjabi kids? Let's give them Italian names. So yeah, they wanted something different for me. They didn't want me to have a traditional Indian name, and they loved the Italian culture, and it was either Antonio or Demetrius. So I think I got the better half of that there. I think you could be too obsessive sometimes, for me personally, when it comes to roles and when it comes to getting something or wanting something. You know, you kind of become obsessed by a character or by a production or by the story. I like that TV runs at a much faster pace. You know, you don't have a lot of time to get the take, to get the shots. But with film, you can go at a much slower rate, and you can really experiment with your character, with the director. And I like both. I kind of like that feeling of being under pressure for a small time, and I also like the idea that we really get to play with something and create something unique. I think that, I mean, obviously there's a massive issue with diversity at the moment in the media, but I think the reason why it may be harder for British Asian actors in particular is, firstly, there's not that many of us. So that's obviously, you know, there aren't that many actors from this background. And secondly, there aren't that many roles being written. If they're not familiar with, you know, coming from an Asian background, they have a certain stereotyped perception of what being Indian is or being Muslim is. And sometimes that's perpetuated through the stories that you're kind of being offered. I have turned down a couple of roles that were like, you know, typical you know, Muslim boy who wants to be a terrorist, who wants to kill all his friends and put a bomb on himself. I mean, I understand that there are those stories out there. I understand that those situations have happened. But for me, as an actor, the most important thing is creating work that I'm interested by and creating work that I want, you know, to show, to put out there. I think things are changing now, definitely. You know, with the things that I've witnessed in the past 2 years, with new scripts coming out, the good, you know, great stuff that I'm reading. So I think maybe that it's just lack of opportunity really that's been the biggest problem. But I definitely think the industry is changing right now, and there are more roles being offered to ethnics.